one of the key things in the AgShare was the role of the students. We identify students as what we call real agents of change. So in our pilot studies, this work was conducted in different universities. And we have selected 3 as case examples to illustrate what was done and what lessons actually were learned. So we'll go through a series of them, and each of them has got up 15 minutes and maybe another 5 minutes for questions. But we're focusing on what was done, what was the role of the students, and what lessons do we have to move forward. So we'll start with the work that was done at the U.S. International University in Nairobi, and be presented by Professor Francis Wambalaba. Francis?
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to stand before you to share some of our experiences with the project that we worked on that was funded. We worked with the MSU, funded through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So the project that we worked on was on the agribusiness management module. And this was, our school does not have agriculture, but it's a school of business. And the idea was how to introduce business thinking in the field of agriculture. So the purpose for this presentation is actually to demonstrate the co-creation of knowledge in an agribusiness module through applied research and integration of teaching and learning. And that was what we were trying to accomplish. And if I may just look at some of the, at least the premises, in terms of the role of universities, according to Ashby, the role of a university is actually to use the empirical approach to knowledge. And so the student is at the university to enhance scholarship. Also, Elton, quoting Humboldt, indicated that in universities, the teacher is not there for the sake of the student, but both have their justification in the service of scholarship. So the sharing of the creation of knowledge is what we are looking at as an effective way of learning. And therefore, to do that, to create that lifelong learning, again, some experts, a number of experts, and here quoting Gav, who has indicated that knowledge, skills, and attitudes that all of us use and live by during our lives. And so what is it that we can do to get these students see this as part of their daily livelihoods? And White also indicating that it helps students to develop tools essential for constructive participation in civic affairs. So all-rounded life activities, that's part of the premise that we are coming from. And obviously, pedagogically, again, one could look at this interaction with the students, what model it can use. Either you can take a disciplinary perspective, or a cross-disciplinary perspective, or a multidisciplinary, or interdisciplinary. However, we wanted to go a little bit further to look at it from an integrative approach, which is, according to Rothblatt, integrative learning focuses on the educating the whole person by encouraging breadth of outlook, a capacity to see connections, and hence an ability to make fundamental decisions and judgments. And it also engages all the knowledge that has been accumulated, whether disciplinary, interdisciplinary, etc. But that means there is the practicing that has to take place. And so the interdisciplinary integrative learning is thus the foundation of an effective lifelong learning. And that's the basis on which we were working as we worked with our students and also the stakeholders who are the farmer organizations. Our target group in the field were the farmer organizations. And here is the process that we took, sort of a cyclical process of creating knowledge in the AgShare project. We used case study research with faculty, students, and farmers. So these three stakeholders working together to create the knowledge. Obviously, the farmers, the goal was for them to obtain transformative consultancy support from the faculty and students, who we call the researchers. So faculty and students go out in the field working with the farmers, and the farmers get this transformational, at least, support. The students also learn from the faculty and the farmers, and these are now the experts, because the faculty and the farmers, when they interact with this student, they are the experts, both the practitioners and those who are playing with theory and the whole framework. But also faculty learn from the students and the farmers. So in other words, learning from the learners themselves. So that interactive process is what we are looking at. And so the cyclical process of researching, learning, and consulting developed the platform for creating the knowledge for this lifelong learning. So about the project, these are the farmers and also some of the students and some of the faculty that we worked on with a pilot project. It was an 18-month project, and we call it the Agribusiness Management for Farmer Organizations. And we had 5 modules that we developed with the 5 people from different disciplines. So we had structure of agricultural sector and policies, and then we had the context of the economics of the farm, and then the behaviors of an entrepreneur mindset and applications of information technology and sustainable farming. Those were the 5 modules that we looked at developing, of course, consultatively. The person who did structure of agricultural sector and policies looks at public policies, but is also from natural sciences. The economist, who was me, and then there was someone from the entrepreneurship department, and then actually we had 2 people from IT, and then we had someone on sustainable development from our Center for Sustainable Development. So all of us sharing our different disciplinary perspectives to develop those modules. And the target audience, as I said, were farmer organizations and also community service students. We recruited these students from the different disciplinary backgrounds to be assistants, and so we take them with us to the field as extension workers. The pedagogical resources that we developed were the modules themselves. We developed also the case studies so that whatever information that is going to be used is something that they can, whoever is using it can relate to similar situations in the country. We also had video so that they go along with that. And obviously those were placed on open education resources, the OER Africa that we have heard about. We had actually someone from OER Africa in South Africa work with us to develop these documents, and can be accessed. And we had also facilitated discussions and wraparound services, which meant once we have trained these, working with these farmer groups, we will provide extension work relationship with them. Obviously, the anticipated outcomes were that, first of all, to develop the course modules themselves. 2 is to create the new knowledge, skills, and attitude. with these farmers we are working with, but also the students as well as the faculty themselves. Because one of the faculty that we began with is one person who never believed in putting their information out in public. They wanted to keep it private. But by the time we finished, they are now strong advocates of open source learning. So that was part of the attitude change. And obviously the focus was on transforming the mindset from farming as a livelihood with FARM to farming as a business enterprise, FIRM. So that was what we were looking at, and to enhance that integrative approach to teaching and learning. Now, some of the highlights in terms of the output were those 5 modules, the 5 written cases and 5 video case studies. Here we have the gentleman from South Africa who was working with us on OER. And we have also a farmer who had a quarter acre and had 40 cows in urban Nairobi, again, as one of the participants, doing very well after the program. He never used to keep any records, but now he has bought a computer and actually he is very active. Some of the impacts that we can mention on faculty, we'll say the application of multiple pedagogical tools and engaging of learners through co-creation of knowledge. In terms of students, we would say it was a transformative acquisition of knowledge, skills, and attitudes for lifelong learning, and again, co-creation of the knowledge. And for farmers, gaining the transformative agribusiness knowledge, skills, and attitude, and thinking in terms of farms rather than farms as in agriculture. And then the universities in general, we had a partnership with a number of universities that were involved with the MSU project, and we tried to link with them. There was Haramaya in Ethiopia, Makerere in Kenya, and Moi University also in Makerere in Uganda, and Moi University in Kenya and USIU. The overall impact, obviously, a number of people involved in the project, 4 universities, 10 farm organizations, 5 faculty, and 5 students. In conclusion, we can say in terms of the innovation, the inter-university collaboration became very critical in dealing with that. There was also a multidisciplinary approach in terms of the people involved from different disciplines. The engagement of faculty in the field, so that they are engaged with real life in that creation of knowledge, and moving from a passive educator to an active multidisciplinary and integrative educator was another innovative part of it. The student engagement, as you can see, both at the table with the faculty discussing, and also in the field, a student working with a farmer. And obviously farmers working together in teams so that they can see that working together as a team is very critical for doing so. But also by being linked to the university, they felt that they were important parts of the creation of knowledge, and they were relevant to this knowledge that was being created. So they were not just now farmers, but they were doing something that is important for society, and so their attitude becomes a little bit different. And so those are the key activities. I know it's a quick summary of a large project that we did, but certainly acknowledging MSU and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for providing the funding, and the other stakeholders who are involved in that. Okay, thank you.
Time for a couple of questions. We'll we are so clear that there's no question.
I have a question.
Oh.
Where can people... Hi, Francis.
Yes.
Where can people access the materials that you've created?
Oh, okay, thank you. We have posted this material on OER Africa, and also I know USAID also was able to to ask for permission to use that. If you go to the USAID section that deals with the young entrepreneurs, that material is there. But OER Africa, if you go to their site, you'll find these resources, and also the USIU website.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. It's very interesting, and I was wondering the knowledge which is available and that the farmers can use. In which language did you post it? Is it in English, or is it in Kiswahili, or other languages?
Okay, that's a good question. One of the things, all this information is in English, but one of the challenges we faced was now to try to translate. Because Kenya, again, Swahili is the national language. Of English and Swahili are used, but then there are also tribal languages. And obviously our effort now is to find a means of translating that information. In fact, we had an organization called TechnoServe that is also funded by the Gates Foundation. Wanted us to train some of their groups. And some of those groups, we had to modify our modules a little bit, but we could only teach them in Swahili. So we were able to teach some of these modules in Swahili, but we had them to do the translations, but we don't have it all translated. But that's one of the efforts we would want to look into.
I think with that, we'll move with the next presenter. As you will note, every university, every country had a different project based on the importance of a commodity in that country or the emphasis on the university. So the next one is from Dr. Haji from Haramaya University, who will be talking about the project they did in Ethiopia. Dr. Haji.
My name is Jema Haji from Haramaya University. I'm a team leader of one of the AgShare pilot project from Haramaya University. It's my pleasure to share the experience we had in the pilot AgShare pilot project. The contents are what is the aim of the pilot project, and then we look at the activities we conducted, and then see at the what makes this approach different, the AgShare approach, and then finally we look at the impact by the project as I've been evaluated by an external evaluator and also by our contacts with the stakeholders. So I have to use this. Okay. Yeah, generally the goal of the pilot project is to establish, as Haramaya, one of the partner university, is to establish a complete set of teaching materials, which is integrating both printable and multimedia formats on the course perspectives for agricultural extension for MSc students in the IA CM program. And the second one is to produce the first chapter on the course Agricultural Marketing and Price Analysis for MSc students in the Department of Agricultural Economics. And the other goals are to create opportunities for additional farmer impact and also improve learning outcomes and use of the modules developed by other faculties beyond the creators of the materials. Now, I will try to divide the major activities conducted into two. One is for the AICM program, and the other one is for the Agricultural Economics program. Under here, the major activities conducted are content developers reviewed the text materials and research publications. They browse the internet and identify related electronic literature and resources. Again, preparatory inputs on community-wide partnership engagement were undertaken for subsequent process. Say, for example, visit to different high learning institutions to create awareness on OER material development. And again, authorization of the use of OER materials were actually obtained from Michigan State, assistance of Michigan State University and OER Africa. Different field visits were with students were conducted, and again internal workshops was held on OER material development. Internal evaluation of multimedia package of students' practical activities was undertaken by faculty staffs and project members. A national AgShare project awareness creation was held at the university. Completed materials printed on CD were distributed to participants of the workshop and other stakeholders. And the first draft of completed materials loaded on ER Africa website. These are, the activities conducted by rural development peoples. Ours is where me played a leading role is on development of the first topic on the course Agricultural Marketing and Price Analysis. Under here, we produced a text module on this topic, and again we produced a video footage on the different marketing activities on coffee in Ethiopia. And also we prepared the case study reports from a data collected from 100 farmers and 42 coffee suppliers and 15 coffee exporters. Made extensive visits and discussion with all the stakeholders like coffee producers, suppliers, processors, ECX, research institutions, and so on. And again, held consultative meeting with the coffee processors, farmers, exporters, researchers, agricultural development experts, coffee connoisseurs, and also cooperative union managers. We also produced 4 case studies which are related to marketing of actually coffee. These are the 4 case study reports which is actually conducted by MSc students. The performance of coffee markets in Eastern Ethiopia, the role of marketing agents, the impact of ECX, which is newly introduced in actually the marketing of coffee, and the effects of price ceiling, which was I mean, a price cap introduced by the government by that time. And the actually important and most impressive part is preparation of the community version from the modules we developed for MSc students. We developed a community version which actually focuses on the quality. How is the coffee quality determined? What are the factors that affects coffee quality? And say in the marketing of coffee, who captures the marketer surplus of coffee? And how is generally the marketer surplus distributed among the stakeholders? And how can this be resolved and so on? We have translated it into the community-based text material and video script into the local language, Afan Oromo. Also published the community-based text material and in the form of booklet and brochures and distributed to district office and to the farmers also. We provided, based on the materials distributed, we provided them training, not only farmers, but traders and processors in Eastern Ethiopia. And also we disseminated the electronic and hard copies of the module to different stakeholders. We distributed it disseminated it to HU library, faculty members. We uploaded it in the HU local network webpage, and also other public and private universities. Actually, what we did is we produced a module and practiced it in our university and one public university and again another one private university. It was included as the first topic of the graduate course in agricultural marketing and price analysis in Haji, and it was practiced in other universities. We included the module package as OER materials, uploaded it in CMAE webpage, and also we held awareness creation workshop with department heads and other faculty members which are postgraduate programs actually, and presented the final module package and model used to create module package to graduate students of the Department of Agricultural Economics. We also organized experience sharing workshop with partners from different universities and Kenyan partners. You see, on the module we developed, the Kenya, one of the Kenyan universities, Moi University, developed the same module by taking maize as one of the products. So there are two modules which are posted in the web page, CMA web page. So the electronic and hard copies are also disseminated to different stakeholders like ECX, EARO, MOE, marketing enterprise and associations and so on. What makes this approach different? Actually it is different from the usual approach or the usual business in different ways. One is on the material prepared. It is actually need and problem oriented, contextualized. The examples and the contexts are picked from the localities. It is integrated. Not only the text module, but there is a video footage, there are case studies and so on. Potential benefits, attitudinal change, in capacity building and so on. As to an innovation to the students. They are involved in the production of the material. They are also aware of the objectives and outcomes of each of the topics on the module produced. They are motivated towards what they are expected to accomplish. It contains both theoretical, conceptual, and practical aspects. Make use of multimedia, pictures, videos. Further reading materials are there, so you can click on it and then get the material. Short notes in a PowerPoint form are also included. Almost all what is further needed by the learner is hyperlinked actually for ease of references. As on faculty, increased collaboration among faculty members were observed. Helped them appreciate the significance of producing actually contextualized materials. It has given practical experience and helped them appreciate actually the challenges and conflicting interests of stakeholders and the overall complexity of the practical situation. This we have seen on the consultative meeting we held with farmers and traders. They do have different interests in the marketing of coffee, but I mean they negotiated or they agreed on the overall outcome of the marketing of coffee rather than looking at the individual interests. They have learned important lessons on how to design, identify, and produce supplementary teaching materials, enabled them to appreciate the local knowledge and experiences of partners such as traders, cooperative, exporters, and so on. Encouraged to read and visit more websites and articles and books on the topic. It facilitates, teaching. Facilitate easy update of the course whenever needed. It saves time and energy. It facilitates knowledge sharing, and so on. As to the community-wide partners, it has given them the chance to evaluate, direct, and reach the module on the consultative meeting. It's not only the content producers, but also communities, different stakeholders were consulted on, or they evaluated and also give comments on enriching the module. Their interest is also included in the curriculum. It influenced faculty to revise the existing curriculum in a way because we shared the experience to other faculty members, and there are efforts at least to change every course into a module. So, the inclusion of other video footage and other things might require more funding. Production of text and video versions relevant and understandable to them. As to content providers, it has an impact on content providers. Clearly, there is a serious shortage of published books in the areas of agricultural marketing and AICM, specifically for MSc students. Especially textbooks are prepared in the context of developed countries and are less relevant for Africa. Freely accessible softwares help to prepare the video and also freely accessible, relevant and useful articles and journals were identified, collected and also organized and included in the module. The support obtained from AgShare team in identifying and collecting OER materials. They provided also training to other faculty members that have not participated in the project. Again, the need to be a forum where the faculty share experience and skills they obtained in the project to different faculty and other departments within the university and outside again. The community-based text and video footage and the training brought all coffee participants together and enabled them realize the need for partnership to improve actually the performance of markets. It also does have effect on faculty. The use of text module, video, and case studies in teaching, research, and community services, building confidence and capacity of faculty in publishing contextualized teaching materials, and appreciate the practical development challenge and recognize the importance of such teaching materials. As to the impact, it has addressed actually the practical challenge facing African students in understanding their environment. It contributes as to the community in addressing the real challenge that partner institutions, specifically working in agricultural marketing in Africa, are facing. It contributes also for the improvement of farmers' income. You see, the most important thing that we showed to farmers is that they have to improve the quality of their coffee. They have to have information on coffee so that they can get, an improved price for their products. On other collaborating universities, we encourage them to use the teaching material in their teaching and learning activities and adoption of the model. So these are the things we have done. Thank you for your attention.
We have time for a few questions. Dr. Haji.
So my question is, how much of the outcomes for the farmers depended on the cooperation among the farmers, and what were the obstacles to that cooperation, if there were any?
Sorry. Okay, I'm expecting more questions. Yeah.
Sorry, one at a time.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, as to the impact on the farmer, the impact may not be that direct because it is developing the module for the students. But practically, what is important in here is the development of the community version from the module, which was a challenge to us even. To produce a version that could be understandable by the farmers from an MSc module. And later on, it's a good experience. We sat together and discussed and come up with a version that fits the community. One thing is, usually the information about, say, for example, coffee quality is not disclosed to the farmers. How it is determined, the coffee quality. And what affects those qualities at the farm level, at the processing level, and also at other stages in the marketing chain. And so what we did is we have shown them the coffee quality, the factors which affect coffee quality at farm level. They have to improve that. And again, once they improve that, we tell them how to get a better price. At least having information, which is important. The dissemination of information or looking for information at different actually market levels. So even though the impact was not direct, but what we produced in form of video and also as a text material was appreciated by farmers, and they are happy about it.
Thank you for the very interesting presentation. I had worked in Madagascar for many years where this question of coffee quality was very important, and we struggled with the same issues as you. My question is, do you have any evidence, either anecdotal or other, that showed that there was changes in the behavior of farmers once they had used the video and the accompanying material? It's this question of evidence. Do we have any evidence of how behaviors change?
Yeah, this is very interesting, and the impact evaluation is always, it takes some time, and what we have seen is that they are impressed by what we presented them, and what they say is, we improve this, we do this. But the problem is with the traders and so on. They are traders. Even if we go for good quality coffee, they always discriminate us and so on. So at this stage, it is difficult, but they are happy that they got the information, which was really uncovered for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we can continue during the break. We need to move on, keep in time. I have an apology from Makerere University. They were supposed to be here and present this work that I'm going to present on their behalf. The first person, the author there, Paul Seja Kambwe, I'm sure you can pronounce that name very easily. I was supposed to come, but he did not have enough time for the visa. US visa takes forever to get. And Dr. Kabasa, the second last, was the project manager, had some challenges why I couldn't come. So it was left to me to present their work, and I will try to do the best I can. So the title of this is what we call the student-led action research. As you can imagine, every university had a different project, like I said, based on the commodities that they have in that country, Ethiopia coffee, and Moi did maize and so on. So the first thing is, what is real action research? And this research, in many scholars, that whose results have direct application and relevant stakeholders. You have to define what stakeholders you have in mind. But scholars will define that that's action research. Results can be directly applied to the stakeholders of interest. And the project in Uganda was to improve the efficiency of the dairy value chain, efficiency, through utilization of open educational resource in the western part of Uganda as a site. And individuals who played the role on the slide, as you can see, the Amata Gutu name there is really the co-op. There's a group of farmers that were very, very instrumental in implementing this project. So the design was strictly a longitudinal intervention study. Longitudinal in a sense that farms were sampled a number of times. And the goal was to conduct research that would produce information and case material for use in, as partial fulfillment for master's degree. Because remember, the student was our agent of change. Then improve the content of graduate courses. In other words, courses that were being taught in these areas, as I explained. The question is, can they be improved the instructors that were involved in those said we are using text examples from England or from Australia, from all North America, and so this was an opportunity to improve the quality and examples of those modules. The other one is to improve efficiency of the dairy value chain across the board. Specifically, in terms of the objectives, they were to improve the safety and the quality of milk. That's number one. Number two was to reduce the incidence of two diseases that may affect the milk production, or obviously the calving, like the calf, and that's called brucellosis. So those were identified by having a needs assessment in the area first, with the local producers, extension workers, to say what are the needs. So that's why those were determined. The other equally important, and frankly speaking, this really got everybody excited, is implement intervention program to improve the economic performance, the bottom line, of the dairy value chain enterprise. Dairy value chain was defined as taking the cow all the way to the sale of yogurt. So the whole value chain, that's what we're talking about. So the approach was interdisciplinary right from the beginning. The question was, when you go on a farm, you don't go as a veterinarian or agronomist. You can, but the farmer looks at the problem. So we said, given that dairy value chain, what would be the key interdisciplinary areas that we're interested in? So then we included the College of Agriculture, particularly the Department of Agriculture Economics and Agrobusiness, and then the College of Veterinary Medicine, Animal Resources, and Biosecurity. And we had those students identified in those colleges and faculty involved, and then the stakeholders that participated with the dairy value chain in 2 districts in the western part of Uganda. Kiruhuru, I'm sure you know where that is, all of you. But the important thing that the students who identified 2 master's students, one doing a master's degree in agrobusiness, and one doing a master's degree in Master of Science in food safety and quality. But both of them had to go on the farm the same day, the same time, and go as a team. You can see those beautiful cows. So here is, if you're going through the total diagram here, if you look at the students at the bottom in that red, our thing was we want to bring information that student, the university, look at the community stakeholders, and we're calling this student feedback information loop. And then as you go along, transfer technology and skills. What are the skills that will be involved then in that value chain quality and business aspect of it? And follow that up with using information, case reports that we are collected to feedback for improving the curriculum, the discourses that I was talking about, with better examples. And finally, the bottom line, or one of the major things, is providing that information in an open resource mode, so that not only do people within the college, outside, and obviously the whole, whoever wanted it, sub-Saharan Africa and abroad, beyond that. So that was really the whole focus. And community at large, whoever wanted it. So in terms of implementation, after intervention were made, there was an external consultant who looked at the qualitative aspect. In other words, did the intervention make a difference in terms of things that we wanted? Milk quality and safety, and of course economic well-being of the farmers on one hand. And then the other impact, of course, we wanted is going upwards in terms of the students learning, changing the courses, and hopefully the minds of faculty members. So I want to be sure I illustrate that very well. So here we have a student really hard, serving many roles, trying to generate data or information that will have impact on the community, that's the farmers, and also other stakeholders in that value chain. Also making impact on the teaching of these courses at the university, and at the same time developing work that will be enough for their master's degree, because they have to get a master's degree accepted by the university. So quantitative assessment then was done in terms of those values that I talked about, using lab data and the price information. So there was a baseline that was conducted quantitatively in terms of milk quality and safety, the prices of the products, and then at the end, quantitatively those were assessed for improvement. This is just one of the outputs. If you look at the blue, this is what was milk production per day in liters, and before we started, that was the baseline in 2010. And then the red is at the end of the intervention. That's what you see in terms of increase of milk production. And as you can see, split into different breeds of cattle that are given in that area. So clearly, there was a significant increase in production. One thing that was a major issue is spoilage of milk. They could make more milk, put in their tanks, not tanks, but the cans and so on, and a lot of spoilage. And there was little association from the farmers what is making the spoilage. If you look at again on my blue, milk consumed in 2010, you compare that to the 11, it was a major increase. But more importantly, that area really want to do processing. And they had a problem having enough milk to do processing. What were they processing? Processing two things. Ice cream, very, very popular in that area. But there's a traditional thing called, it's like butter, okay? It's a cheese thing that we are producing. And they saw that thing go way up. And they increased their market of these products, obviously. And they were very happy about that. What about the students? The students had enough data, valid, strong, scientifically strong, for them to get their master's degrees. In other words, they were accepted within the framework or the regulation of the university, because that was very critical. We didn't want to use students as laborers. We wanted them to get what they wanted to do, but also make a difference. So one of them was, the title was Milk and Dairy Products, Hygiene and Safety. And the other one, of course, was economic analysis of those products. And I said they work together. And I wish the students actually present this work here. I wish. Because all I'm doing is just talk about it. Other things that came out, manuscripts are being written. And they're a little bit behind because we still struggle with traditions of university. You have got to get it accepted before you write the manuscript. Most of you at the university academician know that. But that's where we're struggling, because they wanted to be sure that the master's degree accepted before they're allowed to publish this contract, what we do here. But I'm just facing the realities. Case materials were developed. This case material then would be used for the courses and for doing extension programs. Teaching modules, I said, were actually modified. Case and materials were put on the OER African website. Pamphlets and leaf notes for communities and videos translated in the local language called Dunyankore, which is the western part of Uganda. That was translated. In fact, I have copies in my office. So, in summary, when we look at lessons learned from this research, like action research, is that this action research can result in information and case material that can be used to improve course content, by bringing relevant examples, relevant to the country, relevant to the level of industry and sophistication of the industry, student learning and community development, in a sense that they generated more revenues. And graduate students actually serve as a critical role in action research as agents of change. I was in Uganda last year, actually, and one of the embarrassing things is that the communities outside those two districts heard about the program, and they have got a lot of pressure put to the university, Mackay University, that bring the program to us, because we have had this of making money. So, to me, that's one evidence of success of the program. Secondly, there's open communication in the two districts between producers and the university. Now they can call. In fact, they have so much pressure on the university that talking to the dean of the veterinary school there, he said they don't know what to do, because they're calling them that they want more programs in more than this. So it's one way of really proving that there was, in a way, impact of what we are doing. But looking at it another way, for me, this project and others, is how this material can be open to other people. You have no idea how important this is in the developing countries. We spend so much money on textbooks that are irrelevant or semi-irrelevant. Too costly. Using examples from New Zealand or from Michigan to teach somebody about dairy science in Western Uganda or Haramaya or whatever. For me, the ability to have this material be accessed by somebody in Lesotho or Ethiopia and so on is a dream come true. Obviously, this was funded by the generosity of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and these are the sons of the farmers towards the end, how they were smiling, the quality of that milk. I did not want to show you the picture where the milk, when it started. You would have said, yo. But I always want to be positive, and this is the picture we ended with. Thank you very much. Now, any question for me or for the panel? Yeah, the panel, the three speakers. Yes.
So this is really for the panels. I was wondering, and we've heard on a number of occasions about the importance of materials being relevant to both the context and the languages in the regions where they are. If you could be a little more explicit about the way in which open licensing makes that possible.
Maybe I might call upon my specialist here, but I'll give it a shot first. Then I'll ask Chris and Karen to make comments on. Oh,
I have a vested interest in the answer.
You better answer that, Chris. You better answer that. Thanks a lot. Well, the thing is that open licensing, to me, means that instead of holding back these case materials that we generate in a given country, that somebody else in Zimbabwe or Zambia can freely get access to that without all these restrictions and so on hanging on what we have. And I think it speeds up the process of learning and, of course, the cost. Now, in terms of languages, obviously, you have to, there's so many African languages. Unless something's done in Swahili in Tanzania and then someone's in Kenya where they speak more Swahili than, say, Malawi, each country will have to translate in their own language. So that's the only limitation. But in terms of the students and in terms of the faculty, then English or French, for that matter, or Arabic, for that matter, is a fair game. Chris, you want to add?
Thanks. So maybe Alice wants to, because that's been one of your roles, is to facilitate that. So do you want to take it?
Well, I'm not sure that I want to take it because I'm here wearing my agriculture hat. But yes, as OER Africa, we really advocating the whole issue of openness, open education resources. And I think it's about putting information out there, sharing it, including people, not excluding them. And yes, there are challenges. There are challenges with the language, but let's say with the institutions now, the majority of the institutions, the teaching and learning is in English. So you get it fairly good in terms of dissemination and sharing. It works very well. I think more at the community level is where you have the challenge, where you've got the different languages. But and that's something that we're going to have to learn to work with and to find ways of working around it in the same way that we've got to work around issues of quality.
Follow up there.
I just wanted to respond briefly. I think in some ways my question went awry. What I was leading towards was the idea that once you've openly licensed the material you put out there, someone else can translate it. They can transform the materials so that it's relevant not only to your area but to theirs, and so that increases the access. Yes, of course, if it's in English, someone can, and then they can localize it to be even more specific to a different region, so that you're not only creating something that's valuable that people can get to, but that they can change it. And so I wanted to applaud that.
Okay, thank you.
No, that issue of change is very important when we talk about agriculture technologies, because there's a lot of local specificity that needs to be built in. I have a question kind of following on that. What tracking system do you have for people who have actually accessed this material once it's been made available? And is that really possible? So can you begin to track and monitor the spread effect that these resources are having above and beyond? And specifically, John, for you in the Uganda case, a decision was made to engage 2 students in these action learning cycles. And was it ever discussed, and why wasn't an alternative selected where you'd build courses around these action learning cycles so that it would be not more than just 1 or 2 students, but in fact it might be a course of 10 or 20 students who would be doing the same activities?
Okay. I'll take the second one first. First, it was actually cost and proof of concept first, because we're dealing with a very conservative institution called universities. I'm not talking about the African university only, including our own, okay? My own school, Veterinary school. So we wanted to prove proof of concept first. We wanted to have winners first. And then, once those materials were developed, or concept developed, then we could expand on it. The other thing is, in terms of monitoring or with using it, where there's an impact, this actually is the focus of the second phase. We started on that, but the second phase of this AgShare, that's one of the focuses that one of the foresight that we'll be looking at.
I just want to add to that too. That's one of the things we hope to come out of this gathering is more ideas and more methods for how to do just that. So, Peter's talking about impact assessment, so maybe I should turn over to Peter to ask.
Yeah.
David's talking about quality assurance methods, and we attempted some things as part of the pilot, trying some things out, working with Creative Commons and making things more discoverable and searchable. But beyond right now, Google Analytics types of things, we haven't yet implemented any magic solutions for making that happen. It's a technical and social challenge. So yeah, we look forward to ideas. We hope there's some that will emerge out of these conversations.
Any more questions? Yes, way back. My members of the panel, feel free to jump in.
May I start jumping or something? So I would like to ask you something that has to do with the material that is not there and not yet documented. So I understand that the whole experiment and the research study that the students are going through is producing every day lots of good stuff that you would like to see documented in some way and opened up and shared in some way. What is this that you would like these students to keep track of and then being shared with the rest of the community? What kind of data or material or practices would you like to see there? Like the research diaries and logbooks, the way that they design the studies? What would be the...
Okay, the pilot study is already done, so the documents are already there. We are not going to redo that. But again, depending on what project, we have got a lot of data that we are collected. So one of the things that we are going to go in next phase is documenting that kind of data. For instance, the Makerere example, when we say interventions, what do we mean? What was the intervention? What was the frequency of monitoring? Who did the monitoring? So all that is coming out, we had only 15 minutes. Is that what we want the student to tease out and write in manuscripts and so on? Because to me, apart from putting this on the web for case examples, this is very important for methodological issues. But I've run out of time, and thank you so much, my panel.